This work session regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order. Madam Clerk.
Sorry. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this work session regular meeting of the Franklin Township Council was made as required, indicating that this meeting would take place at the Municipal Building at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, March 25th, 2025.
Thank you. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing for the invocation by Councilwoman Francois. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we gather here today as members of the Township Council, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community, keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Let us continue to strive to make it a better world. Amen.
Madam Clerk, please do the roll slowly enough so Councilmember Potasnik can get in his seat.
Councilman Embarrasson?
Here.
Councilwoman Francois?
Here.
Councilman Karazi?
Present.
Mayor Kramer?
Here.
Councilman Onijaka?
Present.
Councilmember Potasnik?
Present.
Deputy Mayor Udine? Here. Councilman Basanella?
Here.
Councilman Wright?
Well, we have many proclamations and commendations. If anyone wants to follow on the agenda, there's one by the clerk. First off is commendations, NJRPA Award for the Youth Center video. And if it's the Youth Center, you know it's got to be Councilwoman Francois. I guess I am.
I want to make sure you saw the email. Okay.
They look alike, right?
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay? It's always hard when you're the first one to go. You gotta make sure everything is working very well. I would like for all the youth to come up here.
Nice try, Mayor. That was a nice try.
And as I'm asking for the youth to come up, the
Young
mayor
at heart.
says, I'm here. He wishes
Young
he
at
is a youth. Just come on up. Stand over this way, so you don't have to follow. Isn't this a nice sight? Oh, yeah, well, you can show it. Go over that way. We want to see everybody. How many parents are here? Proud parents, okay. You'll have opportunities to take pictures as well, okay? And you come on up too, so you can be closer. How about you over this way? Okay. So we have a commendation for each one of the youth and the staff that participated in the video award, the video that they made that received a great award. And we're so proud of them, we thought we would bring them in and let them know that we really appreciate what they do. And one thing I want to say, if you have not seen the video, it's on our website. All you have to do is click on the Township website and look for the Youth Center, and then you'll be able to actually watch the award yourself. So I'll read the commendation. It says, whereas the Franklin Township Council is committed to recognizing and celebrating the achievements of individuals and groups who make significant contributions to the betterment of our community. Whereas the New Jersey Recreation and Parks Association, the NJRPA, annually presents the Agency Showcase Awards to honor outstanding initiatives in the field of recreation and park management. Whereas the Sounds of Tomorrow video produced by Dwayne Seaton, over there, who will be speaking, and the dedicated youth and the staff at the Franklin Township Youth Center were awarded by NJRPA Agency Showcase Award for Video Promotion on February 25th, 2025, for its exceptional contribution to the promotion of the Youth Center programs and activities. Whereas this award-winning video featuring the talents of our local youth, all of them up here, and there's a lot more at the Youth Center if you ever go over there, and the dedicated guidance of our staff, which some of our staff is here, but not all of them, and you all can speak too if you want to, okay? Played a dedicated guidance of our staff beautifully captures the creativity, enthusiasm, and vision of our young people, showcasing the potential they have to positively impact our community. And whereas the following youth played a vital role in the production of the Sounds of Tomorrow video. If I say your name, raise your hand. Zion Green, Danielle La Bacalini. Oh, did I say that right? Okay. I'm just now seeing this commendation right now, so you have to forgive me. I didn't get a chance to read it. Nyla Brown. Nyla. Nael Gonzalez. Nyla? Niley Gonzalez. Alexa Bordier. Say your last name. Bordier. Alexa Bordier. Charlene Kelly. Okay. Vihan Kumar. There he is. Okay. Atarva Atagi. Did I say that right? I did? Okay. All right. I hate when people mispronounce my name. They call me Francois, Francioso, Francisco, everything but Francois. Arjun Raghav. Okay. And whereas the following staff members provided mentorship, direction, and technical expertise to ensure the success of this project. Maria?
She's out with her baby in the
Outside
lobby.
with the baby? Okay. Okay, she's outside with the baby. Maria Holloman, Joe Jankowski. He's not here, right? No, you see him. Joel.
Somebody's got to be at the youth center. He's working.
Over here. Penson.
That's true.
Lashimi Krava. Did I say that right? Okay. And your last name is? Surilaj. Wendy White, who's not here tonight. Her mother passed away on Sunday. She's the director of the youth center. And Jordan Williams. Oh, there you are. Okay, Jordan. And whereas the Franklin Township Council is incredibly proud of the accomplishments of these students and staff, and we recognize the positive impact that their hard work, collaboration, and innovation have had on our youth centers' outreach and engagement efforts. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Franklin Township Council that we extend our heartfelt congratulations to the students and staff involved in the creation of the Sounds of Tomorrow video. Your dedication to excellence and your contributions to the success of the Franklin Township Youth Center are truly commendable. We are proud of your achievement in receiving the NJRPA Agency Showcase Award and look forward to your continued success and impact on our community. What a wonderful thing. Let's give them all a big hand. So he's going to show you guys the award.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. The Youth Center is extremely proud to be able to be a part of this Showcase Award. We've built up a media program along with the kids with the help of SCAP and Sounds of Tomorrow, and it kind of be a kind of a I'm lost of words. It would be, I guess. Yeah, I'm trying to find the words, but if Dwayne, without Dwayne and Sound of Tomorrow's help, we wouldn't be able to showcase all the great things we've been able to do at the Youth Center.
Appreciate that. No problem. So I guess we go. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for recognizing these kids. They did a lot of great work with this video. We're very proud. I'm not sure if you guys ever heard of Sounds of Tomorrow. How much time do I have?
It doesn't sound very loud at all.
Did you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you fine.
All right. How much time do I have? Well, just to be quick about this, we're very proud of these kids. They did a great job with this video. Glad you guys are recognizing them because they deserve it. We just want to be able to, grow this program and offer this opportunity for more kids in Franklin. With your support, we could definitely do that. So I just went on Fatima. She works with me. Could she say a few words too?
Yes, I thank you for the honor to participate in this project. Sounds of Tomorrow is grateful to collaborate with the Youth Center. Our main goal is to continue to have creatives have a safe space to create, and as a very therapeutic intervention for our youth, and to see them put themselves out there and be fearless and not fall to social norms and fads and continue to be themselves. I think it's just awesome for the authenticity. So guys, give yourself a round of applause. Thank you so much.
All I want to say is this youth center has been such an incredible success. It's not just a hangout. It's creative. It's moving our kids along, and they all love to go there. So congratulations to you and to the youth center on this achievement.
Next is Rome.
See what mine goes.
Why are you on my phone?
Okay, you'll give up the.
See how loud it is now? I
All
told
right,
him,
thank you
turn
so
the
much,
volume up.
everybody. Thanks for coming. And, we really appreciate how well you treat the youth center. You treat it like it's your home. Every time I go there, it's so nice and clean, and the kids love to be there. If you've never been there, you should go over and check it out. It's a safe place for them to be, and they talk about it in the video, how much they enjoy it, how much it means to them. And we really appreciate the fact that the township has invested in our youth, and they can go there for free, and have a good time when they get out of school on the weekend. So thank you, everybody.
Next we have the New Jersey Tamil Sangam Commendation, I'm sure I pronounced that wrong, by Councilman Ambarrison.
That's my phone.
You want to join me?
I told you,
Yes.
leave it alone.
Another round of applause for the kids. Great job, guys. Good evening, everyone. So I'm here today to recognize one of an associations in New Jersey, one of the oldest from Indian-based associations. As you can tell, I'm an immigrant from India. Is it safe to say that these days? So India, for those of you know, India is a vast country, and it has 20, 22 languages, official languages in the country. So I come from a state in the southernmost part of India, which is called Tamil Nadu. And the native language there is called Tamil, one of the oldest ancient languages in the world, about 5,000 years old. So we speak that language, and we have a language-based organization. We started that about 35 years ago. It's one of the oldest in the country, and it has survived this long, and it has grown. One of the things that I've been a past president and the board chair before, but now much younger people are running it. I'm happy to see that. They do a lot more than just conducting cultural programs and activities. They support many initiatives both in the US and in India, and they collect money and donate for good causes. Lately, last few years, they have come to Franklin Township and used our facilities, both at Franklin Board of Education facilities as well as the Township municipal building facilities. So as a token of appreciation, they love the town. They are really impressed by the staff, the courtesy, the hospitality, and the help that they get for their events. They really appreciate that. And as a token of appreciation, they are donating $1,000 to Franklin Township to put a bench near the gazebo. As you know, the gazebo has no seating so far, so we are planning to build more benches there, and this is the start. So we like to recognize the organization with the commendation. Would you please come, the officials from the organization. I have the former president and board member, Geeta, and current president, Suchitra, and the treasurer, Kavita. Kavita is a Franklin resident, by the way. All right, the commendation goes, whereas the New Jersey Tamil Sangam has continuously demonstrated a strong commitment to the enrichment and betterment of our community, and whereas the New Jersey Tamil Sangam, through its generous spirit, has donated a substantial contribution to the Township of Franklin, specifically to fund the installation of a commemorative bench at the gazebo, and whereas this thoughtful donation will not only enhance the beauty and functionality of our beloved gazebo, but will also provide a place of rest and reflection for all who visit. And whereas this bench will proudly bear the name of New Jersey Tamil Sangam, a testament to their dedication to fostering community spirit and enhancing the quality of life for all residents. And whereas the Township of Franklin acknowledges and appreciates the New Jersey Tamil Sangam for its generosity, dedication, and support of our township's goals and values. Now, therefore, we, Raman Barson, Councilman, and Philip Kramer, Mayor of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, on behalf of the Township Council, do hereby issue this commendation to the New Jersey Tamil Sangam for their outstanding contribution to our community. We extend our deepest gratitude to the members of the New Jersey Tamil Sangam for their generosity, and we proudly acknowledge their continued commitment to the improvement of our township. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councilman Anbarasan, sir. This township was extremely supportive to the community organization. We were able to conduct many programs using the school facilities as well as the library, the senior center. People were very helpful. They were really appreciative of the programs that we were able to. Everybody was jumping in to help us whenever we requested them for any help. The politeness and the respect they showed us for the individual cultural programs, the way they treated us was extraordinary. And we can see it from, we observe the postings and everything, the way the township is run, it's really good. It sets an example for the other townships in the state. Thank you for all your support. New Jersey Tamil Sangam is extremely grateful for all the support you have given us. Thank you.
All right, so just a footnote, there's a little bit of money left from the donation that they made, and I have another organization that gave us $100 to the township for using the facility, and my wife suggested that I top it off to donate another bench to the township. So we have been married 44 years, and for $9 a year, it adds up to $400. So I donate another check to the township. Thank you.
So everything else you give to me, the money you give to her. Okay, I got that.
So if you're here for the Transgender Day of Visibility, please come join me. If anyone wants to join, you're welcome. If you're an LGBT member of the community, a transgender individual, or an ally, come on up. I've got a couple people I've identified to share some remarks. It's open to all.
So you're already up here, Mike.
You can do like multiple rows. Great.
We get to fill in the back.
Everywhere.
So as we sort of gather, my name is Ed Potasnik. I'm a council member here in Franklin Township. And the resolution that's up before us is a proclamation for Transgender Day of Visibility. So before we get started, first of all, I just want to thank members of the community that came out today to show support and solidarity to the transgender members of our community, folks that walk among us that we might not know, and our friends and neighbors. It's really important that Franklin is a welcoming community, one that doesn't single out any individual or throw hate or shade at them or try to do anything to demean them or take away any rights. And so today is a positive day as we stand together in the face of many different sorts of, I would say, attacks on the community itself. And so I'm going to just paraphrase very briefly why a day like today is important before I read the resolution. When you're a member of a community that's a minority community, meaning it's not the majority, it's not what most people are used to, it's not what society is designed for, it can be really hard to be in a place where you're not like everybody else, where all the systems are set up for you. If you think about accessibility, if you have a physical disability, there may be barriers along your way to get from one place to another, have access to a community service. If you need an elevator and an elevator isn't available, you can't get to another floor. And that becomes an insurmountable barrier. And as a member of any community, we can identify that, whether it's gender, for the LGBT community, and particularly for transgender individuals, there are more and more roadblocks. And unfortunately, right now, we're experiencing those at the federal level at an unprecedented level of targeting and rollbacks of advancements and civil rights that were established that now are no longer available. And so Harvey Milk said it's really important for people to come out and be who they are. I'm openly gay, because then people could see other folks in their community and say, oh, I like you, and they get more comfortable. And so Transgender Day of Visibility is about that, about being seen. We see the transgender members of our community, we accept them, we love them for who they are and all their accomplishments. So whereas Transgender Day of Visibility is observed each year on March 31st to celebrate the transgender and non-binary community, recognizing their strength, resilience, and vital contributions to society. And whereas Transgender Day of Visibility is a day to honor the lived experiences of transgender individuals, acknowledge the challenges they continue to face, and lift up their voices in a world that too often marginalizes them. And whereas Transgender Day of Visibility is not only a celebration, but also a call to action, reminding us that there is still work to be done to fight for equality, safety, and full societal acceptance for transgender and non-binary people. And whereas Rachel Kander Crocker founded Transgender Day of Visibility in 2009 to shine light on the positive aspects of transgender life and to celebrate the diversity of the transgender community, creating a global opportunity to increase awareness and provide support. And whereas visibility matters, each time a transgender individual shares their story, steps forward as their authentic selves, or takes action in their community, they not only advocate for their own rights, but the rights of all transgender and gender non-conforming people. And whereas, while progress has been made, transgender individuals still face significant barriers to equality, including discrimination, violence, and challenges to access healthcare, education, and legal protections, highlighting the need for continued action, solidarity, and advocacy for full inclusion. And now, therefore, we, Philip Kramer, our mayor here in Franklin Township, and Ed Potosnik, myself, council member of the Township of Franklin in Somerset County in the state of New Jersey, on behalf of Franklin Township Council, do hereby proclaim March 31st, 2025 as Transgender Day of Visibility in the Township of Franklin, and call upon all citizens to join together in recognizing and celebrating the lives and contributions and experiences of transgender and non-binary individuals. Be it further proclaimed that we honor the legacy of Rachel Crandall Crocker, whose mission continues to inspire us and build us a world where everyone can live openly and proudly with dignity. Amazing turnout from members of the community and allies, so thank you guys. I'm going to turn it over to the mayor first if you want to share some comments.
Any marginalized group wants the same thing that the rest of us want. They want to be loved, they want to love, and they want to be left to live their lives and be themselves. And that's all this group is asking for. And here in Franklin, they have that. They are part of our community as much as anyone else. And I'm glad they're there, and I welcome them with open arms. They are us, we are them. There's no difference. I'd also like to point out that Michael Steinbrook, asked if he could get 10 people to come to this meeting to just show their support. If the camera could pan around, I think he did a pretty good job.
I would venture to say there's no better advocate for the LGBT plus community than Mayor Phil Kramer. He believes it in his soul, and it means a ton to our life. Thank you. Councilman Crosby.
Good evening, everyone. I want to mention a few things too. So we pride ourselves for living in the second most diverse community. We not only reaffirm that hate does not have any home in Franklin, but we have pledged to stand up for the other and reject any form of hate and bigotry. We strive to have a united community where everyone, and we mean everyone, to feel loved, respected, and valued. Thank you for doing this.
All the way from their offices in Asbury Park, we have Lauren Albrecht, who is Director of Advocacy for Garden State Equality.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman, for having me. First, I want to say how incredible this is, first of all, to have this group of advocates here on a Tuesday night. I know that everybody else has a life, I know you, but prioritizing this speaks volumes about this community. I will tell you that our offices are in Asbury Park, but I live in Wall Township. which is a little bit of a different ballgame. And if we had something like this in Wall Township, I think it would make our kids in our high school feel a little more comfortable, and to see people like them, to see some support, which I don't think is a thing that we have there in Wall Township. You all are among the first few in the state, because we do get a lot of information about these things, but you're among the first in the state to do this year, and it speaks to your leadership, Mayor and Councilman, and the whole council. It speaks to your leadership that when it comes from the top, when love, understanding, acceptance, inclusion, diversity, and true equity come from the top, it shows the values of the community. And it makes a difference. And I can tell you that because we have a youth advisory board at Garden State Equality. We're your statewide LGBTQ rights and advocacy organization. And one of the projects that we do is youth empowerment. We have a summer camp, a DEI camp for kids, not just LGBTQ kids, but all kids who want to learn how to be leaders. It's 2 weeks in the summer. It's a great program. But we have a youth advisory board that goes on all year. And I'll tell you, the testimonials from the kids in that space who didn't have that kind of space before we created something like this with them and with their input, I hesitate to think what life would be for kids who didn't have that kind of space but needed it and needed to see something like this, need to see a flag raising, need to see trans adults surviving, thriving, and doing well. When I grew up in the 80s and 90s, I didn't have words for my LGBTQ identity, which did cause some concern for myself. I had no idea what was going on. And I think that the kids today really benefit from seeing this kind of thing and the lived experiences of those who came before them. I think it helps to ease their anxiety and to put a name on something that they can't quite understand. So I just want to thank you all for doing this and for reaffirming your commitment at a time when it's most needed and at a time when other municipalities are not necessarily doing this. So, thank you.
When places like Washington step back, towns like Franklin, welcoming places can step up. The next person that's going to share a few words is Dr. Gail Nelson. She's the advisor to the Gay Straight Alliance at the Franklin High School, and it's the PACE Club. It's really important for young people to have role models, but also safe places. And trans youth have much higher suicide rates than the rest of the population. And so the work she's doing is literally life-saving. Gail, thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So PACE came out of a need for a student who was in crisis. And when I say crisis, I mean suicidal. And at the high school, they kind of dropped the ball, and that's how I really stepped in. The students that I work with are like any other student. They don't look different from any of our kids. And as a mother, and as a father, grandparent, aunt, uncle, I want you to think about if someone in your family was struggling with their identity or orientation. The words we speak to them either speak life or they speak death. And it's real. Because that transgender suicidal rate is out the roof. And every day I speak life to my students, whether they're trans, whether they're Asian, whether they're black. I don't care what they are. We have to learn to speak life to our kids because we're living in troubled times. I can't stand looking at Facebook or the news because I'm so tired of people hurting children because there are other outlets. You don't want your child. Take them to the hospital, take them to the church, take them somewhere where they're going to be loved. There's no reason to destroy life. So every time you think, oh, here come no trans people, they're pushing the gay agenda. We're not pushing anything. We're pushing life. And when we learn to respect what life really is about, then you have to step back and reflect and look at your own biases. And I had to do that when they asked me to be the advisor because I was like, what? Me? What? What? But what I did, God dealt with me on that, and I'm going to be real with it. I would go to bed. I said, I'm not doing this. I don't know what to do. I might say the wrong thing. Then they'll be walking me out on tenure charges. Like, all this stuff was going through my head. But God really dealt with me because every night for like a week, I woke up at midnight. And I said, oh, I'm going on social media. And every time I picked up that phone, it was a story about a trans kid that committed suicide or either was murdered. And I said, okay, Lord, I get the message because I can't take no more of this. I was at that school at 6 o'clock filling out the club application. And I placed it on the vice principal's desk in charge of clubs. And her secretary stood over her while she signed it. Because she said, thank you, we need this. Our kids are in crisis. And I didn't realize that being at the high school, because they don't have crisis on their face. You know, they don't know who to go to. So I'm happy that I'm a safe space for them. I'm happy they feel comfortable coming to me. And I'm not keeping secrets from no parent. But I'm not going to put a child in harm's way if their parent is not ready to accept who they are. So I want you to think about that when you think about your blessings, when you, oh God, thank you, or I'm just so blessed. Think about that. Think about if it was someone in your family. Because every time a child comes to me with something, the best way I deal with it, I put someone that I love in that position. And I play that whole story out. And that's where I'm able to help others. I never think I'm better. I never think of anything. And when I look back on my high school years, my best friend, I guess, was gay. And at the time, I just didn't realize it. I just thought he liked long fingernails and let me paint them. Because I bit my nails, so I was like, this is cool. You know, I wasn't raised with that prejudice. I wasn't raised like that. So I'm not going to do it to these kids. And I speak life to them every day, and I tell them to walk in your purpose. And sometimes, if you're the only one that is walking in your purpose, stand strong. Stand strong, because once you get through that trial, can't nothing touch you. So I just ask you to keep an open mind. Don't be judgmental. Enjoy life. Because hanging out with these guys is a lot of fun.
So a quick commercial on Saturday, June 7th from noon to 3 o'clock at the gazebo. We'll do our second annual Pride event. There's going to be tables with resources and food, crafts and artists, musicians, performers. It's really going to be a great day. And our last speaker in the sort of this resolution portion is actually Isaiah Harris, who's a Franklin graduate in 2004, a transgender man, to share a little bit about his experience, both when he was a student and now as an openly transgender individual. And we're so happy to have him with us, and I'm going to give him this Transgender Day of Visibility resolution for standing proudly before us today.
This feels good, doesn't it? Yeah, visibility. Mayor, thank you. Like, to have this platform for all of our voices to be heard is important. See, what it does is it brings awareness. And what awareness allows us to do is to break down stereotypes that they have on our community. They hear trans and they automatically confuse trans with gay for some reason. I don't know why. I am a trans male, but my orientation is none of your business. See, we have to respect others, people, all right? And the way I was raised is you treat people how they want to be treated. Not how you want to be treated, how they want to be treated. If somebody is saying, call me Michael and not Mike, is that hurting anybody here? No. So if somebody says my pronouns are she, they, then that's what they are. Or he, they, or she, her. Let's respect each other. Let's break down these stereotypes and this stigmatism against our community. And please, let's stop going against each other. It starts from within, y'all. It really does. See, high school, and they put my age out there. I'm 38 years old, right? But when I graduated in 2004, yeah. High school was not fun for me, y'all. High school was, kids are mean. Kids can be cruel. And even as adults, we could be like, ow, that stings a bit, you know? I got bullied, assaulted, you know, and finally I said, well, I'm not gonna allow fear to be my compass. I needed to find my path and be confident in it because it's my responsibility. I found my voice. My community is under attack. Oh no, it's not the time for me to cower and be scared. It's the time for me to stand up, speak up, because that is my responsibility. I don't know if it will help this person or that person, but I know if one person benefits from it, I did my job. And I'm gonna continue to do that. We all have different backgrounds, different stories and everything, and I just want everybody in this room to know we do not all have to be best friends. I don't have to grab a bite at Stagehouse with you. But what we can do is come together for the better of our children, our adults, our marginalized communities, our Black community, our disabled community, our seniors. We can be kinder to each other. And we can not get distracted by little things like which bathroom I want to use. That's weird, because I think we all use the bathroom, right? And we don't have to push that narrative like grooming and things like that. It's not safe. That's not safe talk. Let's create safe spaces anywhere we go, because it starts within you. If you see somebody sitting by themselves, maybe you sit by them. Ask them how their day was. If you see somebody that is being transphobic, speak up. That is your job as an ally. It's action. It's not just words, it's action. And I just want Franklin Township to know how proud I am to be a part of this community that's so loving, welcome, and diverse. We have a lot of work to do, but to lead is to know where you came from. And I'm so happy that I come from Franklin. Thank y'all.
Awesome. Thank you again to everyone who came out tonight. Feel free to stay for the rest of the meeting. I know there's more items on the agenda for the resolution. Oh, if folks are interested in the signs, Hate Has No Home Here, the mayor and assemblyman and I have those for free. You can email me, and we can get one to your house. No problem.
For our fourth proclamation, we have MS Awareness Week. Would you like to come up? Would you like to come up for MS Awareness Week?
They wouldn't email it to us. Is it on their website? Did you go there?
Were you not paying attention?
No, I didn't.
He's a friend of mine, too.
So, I don't know if it's on their website. Yeah, no. Okay.
So this is coming a week late, but I got news of it just a little bit too late for our last council meeting, but here we go. Whereas multiple sclerosis is a neurologic disease of the central nervous system affecting nearly 1 million people in the United States alone, and whereas multiple sclerosis generally strikes people in their prime of life between ages 20 and 50, and cause and cure and course of the often debilitating symptoms of MS remain unknown, and no cure currently exists. And whereas the National Multiple Sclerosis Society is committed to a world free of MS, heightening public knowledge about and insight into the disease. And whereas together we have transformed what it means to live with MS and provided global leadership to help achieve our vision of a world free of MS. And whereas funds raised through the National Multiple Sclerosis Society fuel research on pathways to MS cures and invest in MS research, workforce at the best medical centers, universities, and other institutions throughout the United States and abroad, leading to many breakthroughs in the treatments of MS. And whereas the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey recognizes the importance of finding the cause and cure of MS and expresses its appreciation for the dedication that the National Multiple Sclerosis Society New Jersey Metro Chapter has shown towards crediting a world free of MS. Therefore, I, Philip Kramer, Mayor of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, on behalf of the Township Council, do hereby proclaim March 9th to March 15th, 2025 as MS Awareness Week. And do commend this observance to all our citizens. I encourage all Franklin Township residents to learn more about MS and what they can do to support individuals with MS and their families. So as most people know, I'm a neurologist, and when I was going through training, there was no treatment for MS. I remember when beta seron was first coming out, and that we said, finally, there's something. And it's been a lot of progression, but as you hear here, we still don't know why it happens, and therefore it makes it harder to make it not happen. They talked about the research in here, and unfortunately, in today's climate, research monies are under attack. And that's something that we need to stop. It affects people, real people. Would you like to say a word?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mayor Kramer and council members. Again, my name is Dr. Jackie Jackson, and I thank you for presenting me with this MS proclamation on today. And although it is written in the proclamation that that's MS Awareness Week was a week ago, I assure you that there is not a day, a week, or a month that go past that MS is not recognized by advocates like myself who are on the move, who constantly are advocating to recognize MS, this devastating disease. And with that said, that yesterday, I was at the New Jersey State House on the Assembly floor, and I received the MS proclamation from the Assembly floor. So that tells you, that MS is a devastating disease, and MS Awareness Week is an opportunity for people like myself living with MS, and my adult daughter who has MS. She's not in a wheelchair, but all the faces of MS, everybody doesn't have a wheelchair. Some of them, have invisible hidden MS, and everybody's symptom is different. So I am one who's on the move in a wheelchair, and I can tell you that I was not born with MS. I was forced into an early retirement. I went from walking normal to using a manual wheelchair, wearing thigh-high leg braces, and I could go on and on. But here I am. I'm still on the move for millions of people living with MS in the MS community who cannot be the voice. So I'm the voice for the MS people living with MS, and I just want to thank you for recognizing that MS is a neurological disease and that there is no cure, but the educational component is what's really important. That's the reason that I'm here today, and I just want to thank you for recognizing MS Awareness Week and know that we're always on the move. Thank you for recognizing MS on behalf of the entire MS community. Thank you.
Smiles. Are we shaking hands too? You gotta do that whole thing. There we go. All right, awesome. Good seeing you, Jeff.
Thank you for making me aware of MS Awareness Week.
I will be back in July. Americans with Disabilities Act.
You'll be welcome.
And I'm not making here.
The fifth best place to live in America, from what I understand.
Okay. We are now ready for public discussion. Do we have a motion?
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. We are open to the public. 5 minutes of time to speak. No yielding of time. May only come up once. Please state your name and address. No one from East Millstone can speak.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Michael Steinberg, 28 Market Street, East Millstone, Somerset, New Jersey. Franklin. All right, nice to see you all, and just wanted to take a second to thank the mayor and Councilman Potosnik for submitting the resolution, and you all for passing that resolution. And I will just say this, that you know, everything you heard, you know, about all the things we value in Franklin, I think you know, I have personal experience. It's not my place to tell another person's story, but I will tell you that someone who became a member of our family in our house every day, growing up in the school system in Franklin, and couldn't be who they are in our schools. And you know, what you heard from the advisor is absolute truths, right? So there's fear, and now that person is living, you know, their full life at Rutgers with my daughter, best friends, right? Going to live together next year, and you know, so you all taking the time to make this happen. It's a small gesture, and I know we run through a lot of them, but it means a lot. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys. So have a great night.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Good evening, Council, Township Council, and Mayor Kramer. My name is Sadika Bukhari, and this is my neighbor, Ruby O'Roy. And we live in Somerset Gate community, which is at the corner of Douglas Avenue and 27. And we are here with a situation that we've been dealing with ticketing for parking. And I know we had a conversation. I had called Mayor Kramer and spoke about it. This has become a real problem because most of our units are rented out, and I don't think that they monitor how many people are renting for whatever perks, and they have multiple cars. We lack space to begin with. When we bought this house in 2014, that was not told to us that parking was going to be an issue. It's a two-car, you know, parking with one inside the garage and one outside, but nobody tells you that, hey, you know, the garage is going to be full, which is typically every American. So one car lands on the street. What's happening lately is we can't invite guests, and my maid came in, she got a ticket. One of my guests came in, she got a ticket. It's embarrassing as a homeowner, and I don't know what to do, and it's really going to affect the sale value of my home and all the residents that are still living there. It's not a problem for those who have rented out because they're going to continue to make their money. It's a problem for the people who live there. Now, this is in summertime, and then when you have bad weather, when it's snowing outside, it's a gated community. Your car is your private property. If you put it in Douglas Avenue, the street isn't any better. Those are individual homes. We have the same exact situation with parking, where they're going to start complaining. So we have to find some resolution. We're talking with the Homeowners Association. I believe they put in an ordinance for the police department to give tickets on complaint of the fire department. And I know that we have to come to some understanding between the HOA and the community president that we have. And we need some time to figure this out so that we can still continue to have and enjoy our home in its full capacity. We pay the taxes. You know, it's not the safest area. I'm getting alerts every 2-3, you know, days of an assault here or this and that. So it's not like I can tell my daughter who just turned 18 to go walk, you know, park her car 4 blocks away and walk home if she's returning at 11 or, you know, even at 10. So we have to consider a lot of things. I think if we don't focus on it now, it can come back and, you know, kind of haunt us later on as a township, as you know, a development that is in the prime location. So if we can come out with some ways to maybe not ticket. I understand there's a fire issue and the hydrants are at the corners, So maybe one of the things that Ruby and I were discussing, that where the fire hydrants are, and if people are parking on those curves, a distance from the fire hydrant, just for the fire truck to come through, that is understandable. And if anybody's parked there, ticket them. But when it comes to the street parking, because we don't have any other option, until we find a resolution, maybe buy us some time on this. And I wanted to get some feedback from you, because honestly, it's like I can't call my mom and say, hey, can you, carpool with the rest of the family, and then I go and move my car out. It's just, or the maid who is making probably the amount that she makes, and then she loses half of it to a ticket. It's just one of those situations that I think we need to deal with. So just look into this matter and see if we can maybe talk the next time and come back with something for this. Thank you. I just wanted to put that out.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Benjamin Guy, 35 Patton Drive. I just had a question. I had a couple of points that I wanted to get clarification on. One is, just so I'm aware, again, I forgot the dates. The affordable housing portion, the subcommittees that you guys are doing, I just want to make sure that we're keeping that updated at least a month, because I know that you guys submit a report sooner or later over the next couple of months, and I just want to make sure that that's out there and aware about that portion. Second portion, I know that during the some of the residents are getting notices, or specifically me, we were replacing water meters. I wasn't sure if that's a private company or that's part of what we're paying for as a town to actually do the replacement for the water meters, and I think Mr. Von Locker probably can update that. The reason why I'm asking that question, I was trying to see if that was tied into some of the stuff that we're going to be spending for allocations that we're doing for what we're going to do with the American Rescue Plan money. I thought No Vasanella was actually advocating for this to actually get done for infrastructure improvements that was actually getting done. But I wanted to know, was that part of this package or was that a separate thing? Because I don't know which one it is. So I want to clarify that portion based on spending rights and actually allocations altogether. So the third thing is also, just because it's going into summertime, I'm not sure if this is happening this year or there, because one of the constituents in my area asked the question, is roadway paving. Is there a plan for new roadway paving that's actually going to happen this year during the time frame? Because I know we put some of the stuff on hold for Hamilton Street and some other things that were going on, and I know that was part of a pushback plan that was going on with the counties, and with money being pulled back for things of trying to figure out what's getting done and what's not getting done, because I know that's one of the things that was actually out during the time frame. And then last portion, because I'll be brief today, is that one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to actually make sure I advocate for this, because it's near and dear to my heart pretty much, is that we're funding a construction program, right, as a town right now, right, with the VOTEC and everything else. I ask everyone in the town council to support this, because again, from a taxpayer standpoint, if you visit and understand these people's lives that are getting impacted, it means something. And in order for this to be done and actually be done the right way, we need township support, not just the school district, not just the people that are doing it, but also the people that actually are behind these type of things. Specifically, Ram knows it, specifically he visited the person that was actually did it before, right? The question is that, did anybody else? I would say no, right? On a regular basis. Again, advocacy is power, and that's how we actually get change going on here. Now, we've done one in the school district, and we've done one as adults. But half the town, and I can say this publicly, doesn't even know. So it's a problem. If we're offering services and we're doing this stuff and we're trying to do outreach, and we're not advocating for it, what's the point? It's wasting money. And I'll say that directly for myself, because I advocated for this. Because I want to see people's lives change. I don't want to see them unemployed. I don't want to see them on the street. I want to see these things done. But the problem is that I don't think nobody else advocates for these type of things, for life-changing programs to actually get done. So again, for this to continue, and actually for you get state appropriations to actually fund this long term, which it'll stop after this year, you won't. If you don't have the numbers, it's not going to get a result. So why would the county or why would the state step up and fund anything else for you in the future? If you can't do a simple program that you guys stepped up to do, doesn't make any sense. So I asked the question is that, are you guys going to advocate for anything else besides your pet projects? Thank you.
Doc Cunningham, 11 Star Court, Mayor, Council, good to be with you again. Want to be quick on one thing, and then I'm happy to answer any questions and maybe get some further guidance on the upcoming efforts regarding a civics forum set for May 29, 7 p.m. Just to recap, Mr. Mayor, as you know, I met with the district director for Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman's office, and he provided 2 dates that were viable for her. We floated those dates around, and the 29th seemed to be the date that minimized conflicts, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the working date now that is being considered by both public officials, senior public officials that we've invited, and we're hoping to hear back from them. It was submitted on Thursday, and the process suggests it's going to take 7 to 10 days. Once that information is confirmed, I'll circle back with you and our others on the council to have a definitive go-ahead on hosting that event May 29th, 7 p.m. here in the council chambers. Let me also, I mentioned I'm happy to answer any questions. And one more thing I want to share, and Councilman Patasnik kind of made me think about sharing it here, and I alluded to it briefly the last time. In 1968, the last speech that Dr. King gave, he said these words: "The nation is sick. Trouble is in the land. Confusion all around." Fast forward a few months in that same year, and finally Lou Hamer implored the nation to wake up. Now, just for context, keep in mind, at that point in time, we had already seen some major gains in terms of civil rights legislation. There was the Civil Rights Act of '64, the Voting Rights Act of '65, the Fair Housing Act of '68. So clearly, these 2 individuals were calling our attention to a shift that had occurred in the nation, a rollback, as Councilman Patasnik kind of alluded to. And so we might want to ask ourselves the question: are we at a similar point in our nation with some of what we've been seeing? So part of what we hope to do through this event is to begin to answer the question, what's America missing? And part of the reason for asking that question is to tie it in to the period of our founding, when folks came up with E pluribus unum, out of many one, because at that time, they may have also asked the question, what's America missing? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I see a smile. When everybody's smiling, I'm glad to see that, man. Because you know I'm going to smile. John H. Tibbs, 25 Parkside. Tyler Chicks told me to tell you hello. Doc Cunningham. He said pretty much what I felt, so I'm not coming here to say it. I just come to tell you, Kimberly, I apologize for how you think I felt in terms of the center. These guys control my television and everything at home. It came out 3 o'clock in the morning. It came on by itself. The whole thing. And the video, and I'm with you. All I've come to tell you is I'm here to join you and the mayor and Bob in terms of the youth programs and all it has to offer to the citizens in the 4th Ward including Carl Wright in the fourth ward. And I think I have a lot to offer. I want to thank you guys very much for it being happening. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Eleanor Rogan, 9 Republic Row, Somerset, New Jersey. I guess just this week or so, Joe Janelson had a bunch of representatives from Franklin Township, residents from Franklin Township, down at the State House to do some speeches about warehouses and public safety and health. And he had a committee there also, and the mayor and the deputy mayor were there. And I just have a few notes from that, from some of the presenters at this meeting. There were professional people there. There were first responders. There was rescue squad and firefighters at this meeting in Trenton. Paula Weiner of EMS Council, New Jersey, who represented first aid responders, mentioned a few obstacles that they were up against. In her points, these are a couple of points that she mentioned. The warehouses do not have elevators, or they have small elevators that only a small amount of equipment can fit into, therefore making the first responders carry heavy equipment up flight of stairs to perform medical rescue. Another point that she made was that the outside doors, which are many at the warehouses, are not marked, causing a delay in service. Once inside the big warehouses, the areas again are not marked, causing a delay in service by the EMS work personnel. When you add all these delays in the service caused by problems, as mentioned by the professional first aid responder, will this cause a delay in service to communities? Another group of people was Mayor Heck of the League of Municipalities, and who is a firefighter and an EMT for 20 years, and David Bialis of the Firefighters Association of New Jersey. They mentioned their concern for firefighters. Mayor Heck mentioned that there was a fire at a warehouse that took 3 days to put out, and I think you probably remember in Hillsborough. It was a very messy scene, fumes of smoke and all. Went over a lot of those towns and cities. They both continued saying that lithium batteries, which run many of the machines, catch fire, and these fires are very hard to fight. The warehouses, they also mentioned that warehouses are very tall and wide and hard to fight fires. One of the important points that these two firefighters mentioned, and since we have volunteer firefighters in our community, is that many of the warehouses have a change of clients, and therefore the inventory switches and the notice of contents inside of the warehouses are not updated. These are issues that were brought by professionals about the safety of communities that have warehouses. Thank you.
Jan Brandt, 22 Bryant Court. Hi, everybody. So Eleanor was mentioning about the hearing last week, and she spoke at it, and I was honored also to testify last week in Trenton, and it was at the Public Safety and Preparedness Committee, and it was a hearing on warehouse sprawl for Franklin Township, and Assemblyman Joe Danielson is the chair of the committee, and like Eleanor mentioned, the mayor was there, and Sheepa was there, and there were some of us from Franklin Township there. Before this hearing, I was aware of all the hazards that warehouse sprawl has brought to our community, but I really wasn't aware of all the additional aspects of dangers that warehouse sprawl brings. And this hearing actually opened my eyes to it, and it was really the emergency response systems that are in place for it can be very problematic. My concerns, stem from, for our township, just the additional people and services that we'll need because of the 25 warehouses that have been approved or built in Franklin Township and specifically in Ward 2. And we had an emergency last week at Canal Walk, and it took, I heard, over 15 minutes for emergency response team to answer. And so after this hearing and after knowing about this person who did not survive and it took so long, I have so many different questions about this, because I'm worried that there's so many more buildings and people in Franklin Township Ward 2, and is there enough emergency services to respond to them? I know when I did some research, I saw that the Amazon Center that's located in Ward 2 had 276 police calls in 2024. So my questions are as follows, and I'll give you, I made a copy of all my questions, and I need to be educated. I'm really not educated on the 911 services, and this hearing really scared me. So I wanted to know where are the 911 services for Franklin Township located? Are each one of them dedicated to a certain ward or area, or, depending, I guess, where they are? And where are the firefighter services locations as well? How many are there, and are they designated to different areas in the township? And have we had the same number of emergency response locations in the last 5 years since all this new development in Ward 2? And I know that Ward 2 has more development because of our location, and I'm just wondering, I'm just worried about, we have 4 different senior living places, communities, we have schools in Ward 2, and I'm just worried about how that response is. How long is the response time for 911 and fire and ambulance services? Like, how long after somebody calls 911 should they expect, somebody to respond? We all know, I'm a retired nurse, and I know the mayor, he practices medicine, but we know that the faster response time increases survival time if someone's having a cardiac arrest. Let me see, are these 911 firefighter service or firefighter services, are they all volunteer positions? How many people work on a shift, and is this around the clock? Are there different response times depending on what shift you have? Since there's been an abundance of development warehouses in Ward 2, close to 5 million square feet in the last few years, do we take this into consideration with how many personnel we need to work when we're having these emergencies? Has there been an increase in hiring additional police in the last couple of years? If yes, how many more police have been hired? I'm wondering the same thing about emergency personnel. Have there been more emergency personnel and firefighters hired? And aside from that, my other statement was I'm wondering how much open space we have in Ward 2, municipal open space. One of the figures, and this is a different topic, but when I look at different things proposed, like for instance, the open space for 26.2 acres is B9, right? And B9 would be building a 200,000 square foot warehouse. That is like 26 acres of open space, virgin land that would be wasted on a warehouse. And the same goes for behind there. The MCS Franklin has 56 acres proposed for a 621,000 square foot warehouse. So it just concerns me that there's so much open space and then it gets wasted on these warehouses when we have, and this is, I'm just talking specifically Ward 2. So should I have my sheet of all my questions, because I'm sure you guys didn't write everything down. Should I give it to you, Mr. Warnlocker?
Actually, should probably give it to the clerk, and then she can either request an Oprah request or whatever else might be necessary.
So are all those questions need Oprah requests? Because I'm just even wondering, would somebody know?
To be perfectly honest with you, I wasn't listening to all of them, so I don't know whether they'll need Oprah requests or not. Some of them I can probably answer when I get my chance to answer your questions
all right,
later.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Wilitsky, 13 Republic Road. I just want to clarify one issue. When the person passed away at Canal Walk, I was the second one on the scene. I was on the treadmill in the adjacent smaller gym, and a man came to me and said, "There's a guy on the floor, I need your help." I went over there, he was on his side, facing away. And a couple, maybe 2-3 minutes later, the first officer came.
Correct.
And she rolled him on his back and asked me, "Does anyone know CPR?" Now, I haven't done CPR in 30, 40 years. I didn't know what to do, but I didn't do it. There was an AED on the wall right behind her, and nobody used that. And then another officer came, and the two of them, I think they've started to try oxygen. But when I saw him, eyes were open, mouth was open, and nothing was happening. But it took about 15 or 20 minutes until the ambulance came with four more, and the gurney. But the second officer, then we blocked people trying to come into the area where Mr. Newman was. And so that's exactly what happened. I mean, I was there. I was the second one on the scene. And it was hard. But I just want to clarify just exactly what happened.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak?
Man, seeing no one to come forward, a motion to close the public portion.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried, public session is closed. Time to address the public comments. Do any council members want to answer any of these questions?
Mayor, I'll just address the questions that were asked about our water work. And then I believe our manager is best suited to respond to the concerns about Somerset Gate. But
the manager will handle many of these.
yeah, well, I just wanted to.
Probably all.
Well, the water program that was mentioned, I was pushing and happy to keep pushing, was I believe it's somewhere about 3.8 or 3.9 million total that we are investing. A matter of fact, some of it I believe is on the agenda tonight, to basically redo a water system between Hamilton Street and 27 and Matilda and somewhere around home, going towards New Brunswick. That area that's very densely populated, very old in comparison to most of the rest of the build out of the town. And I am thankful to my colleagues and our water department that's aggressively attacking that, and going to there'll be a lot of digging, a lot of work, but what will be left is not just your underground being new as far as our water system, but you'll also have paving, whatever curb, whatever needs to be done, usually the following year, because everything has to settle. The water replacement meter program is an ongoing program, and the manager will probably speak about that. That's separate, and we fund that. It is a separate company, and they come to your house and they replace the meters because they're more high-tech and more accurate, basically. There's probably more to it than that. But there are two major initiatives. One is relevant to that money that was referred to that we got from federal government, and fortunately in putting a lot back into our infrastructure. And the other is an ongoing program that we would be doing regardless of whether we were working on our water mains or not. So just a little clarity there. And someone was asked about, are we still paving? Well, we didn't pass the budget, but right now I'm happy to report that the financial oversight, I think, kept in the recommendation, and Public Works is working with the recommendation of having $4 million. Once again, we vary between 2.5 and 5, but 3 to 4 in recent years. And that will be enough, I think, to keep our paving standard up to a pretty good high standard that we've proudly accomplished in recent years. And it's not just that $4 million, there's also grant money we fight hard to get. Sometimes the water department, when they do work, does paving, sewer sometimes, PSE&G. So we're allocating our hope to $4 million, but the reality of it is we'll probably end up with closer to $5 million actual repaving. But when the budget gets finalized, I'll gladly talk to you, Mr. Guy, or anybody else about those programs. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, Mayor. I would like to address some of the questions that came up from Eleanor and Jen.
Okay.
Just first things, thank you. I actually had on my council comments, but I can address them now. You're absolutely right around the clear signage for EMT on the warehouses. I think that's something we need to look at and make sure that there are clear visibility signage for EMT to access and make it easy for emergency services. The other thing that I did actually had a chance to talk about is what was on my agenda today was the lithium batteries concern regarding the fire safety. So that is something that I will ask our attorney to review and provide some feedback to us on drafting out an ordinance that talks about lithium batteries and fire prevention from that.
Yes, Councilwoman, and I noted to you tonight that there are local ordinances that are being adopted in New Jersey, so I'm going to pull some of them and send them to you, and we can start to work on putting a form together for Franklin.
Perfect. So hopefully that addresses the lithium battery concern. And then there was another the ask around Ward 2 open space acreage, and Township manager can validate this, but I believe it was 475.90. And you can validate that if that's correct, but I think that's the number.
That sounds correct, Councilman.
Okay, thank you. And then on the tragic incident that just occurred in Canal Walk, I was in Canal Walk today myself, and I was there for the Fire Prevention 101 session, and a lot of the residents brought to me this tragic accident that happened in Canal Walk last week involving a gentleman, and we will absolutely review this with our public safety director and get more additional context and feedback, unless if manager has more insight to this. But believe, from what I understood, most of our officers are EMT certified. Our police officers are trained with defibrillators and oxygen to handle such cases. But we will definitely look into this deeper and make sure that, what occurred there versus, but I spoke with you, Paul, on this, and we'll definitely take a look at this more. I know I've also reviewed the response rate from ambulance from back in 2020 when COVID hit, and that was because the delay was due to the sanitation of ambulance. Now I think it has increased efficiently more. I think it took 5 minutes or so, and we can check that, for the police officers to be on scene.
3.
All right, 3 minutes? 3 minutes for the police officers to be on scene. And there were 3 of them, right? And as they were doing the initial state of getting the services ready, the ambulances were there within 15 minutes. So again, is there any room for improvement? Absolutely. We can definitely take a look at that and see what can be done further. But I just wanted to make sure that these are a couple of things that was brought to my attention, and we are looking at it with the deep dive lenses. I think that's all I had. I just wanted to report that out before we get to the council comments. Thank you.
Any other council member? Okay, Mr. Manager.
Well, let me jump in. So, Doc Cunningham, I wanted to respond to your statement. I know you've done a lot of these events for the community for civic engagement and trying to encourage civic engagement, and I know your first one was done over at the senior center, and then you had one over at the youth center. And I think you are bringing forth a lot of issues here, not just for Franklin Township, but for the nation, quite frankly. And I think you were asking a question about if you were able to secure Congresswoman Bonnie Watson-Coleman and Senator Cory Booker on those dates, could you have your forum here? That was basically your question, on May 29th, if that's confirmed. And I know that the mayor is one of the guest speakers on the panel, and so is our deputy mayor, and the Commissioner Director Chanel Robinson, and others are on that panel.
I'm not.
You're not on the panel?
No.
Okay.
It's okay.
Oh. So I think once you get that confirmation, you should work with, I'm looking at the manager. Who should he work with?
He's already done it. It's with Anne Marie.
He's already done it?
Already taken
Oh, it's
care
already
of.
booked. Oh, you're on the panel too? Are you on the panel, Councilman?
It's actually
Okay.
Councilman Basanello that brought it all
Oh, okay.
to the forefront.
All right, so I think you got what you needed then. All right, thank you.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To address the question about meter replacements, so as Councilman Vasanellis alluded to briefly, VPO is the company under contract with the Township of Franklin to do residential meter replacements. This has been an ongoing program for, I'm going to guess now, geez, seems like 8 years. We were initially doing it in-house. We've now transitioned to doing commercial meters under 2 inches, and the residential meters are being done by VPO, and then anything over 2 inches is the responsibility of the property owner to pay for the meter replacement. So this has been an ongoing project, again, that VPO was contracted, I think 2 years ago now, to begin this process, and we're hoping to wind down by the end of, I believe, 2025 at this point. And so that's the question about meter replacement. Mr. Guy, I'm not asking you to confirm or say anything further, but as far as your paving question was concerned, I heard you mention the word Hamilton Street. Hamilton Street's under the jurisdiction of Somerset County, and I would direct you to the Somerset County Board of Commissioners with any questions as far as the paving of Hamilton Street. That's not within our jurisdiction, and we don't fund that paving. As Councilman Vasanello said, we completed $4 million worth of paving in 2024, and it is budgeted at $4 million as a proposed number for 2025. To address just a couple of comments, and without going into any great detail about the loss of a life at Canal Walk, yes, someone did pass away at the Canal Walk Clubhouse, I guess last week. It was brought to my attention earlier today by Councilwoman Udine. I spoke with the public safety director who viewed the body-worn cameras of the police officers who were there. There was emergency life support given to the victim by our police officers in the form of defibrillator and CPR. The arrival of the first officer was in 3 minutes. The arrival of the first ambulance was about 15 minutes after the initial dispatch for them to respond. There was an ALS, advanced life support, and a BLS unit, basic life support, sent, and they both arrived at roughly the same time. The body-worn cameras indicate that the police officers administered emergency life support upon arrival to the clubhouse. And like I said, first officer there in 3 minutes, and I believe the second officer was there in 5 minutes. I'm not going to address all of your questions, Ms. Brandt, regarding average times of response. I will tell you that the fire service in Franklin Township is under the direction and control of 4 individually voted on, elected boards of fire commissioners, not by this board up here in front of you today. If you have questions regarding fire protection, the level of fire protection, manpower questions as far as the fire service is concerned, or response times regarding the fire service, I would direct you to those individual boards of fire commissioners. You happen to live in District 1. Like I said, there are 4 in Franklin Township. And the fire service is dispatched by Somerset County Communications, not the township. So we really have no direct involvement in the fire service. That's the responsibility of the fire commissioners of each district. As far as your questions about just police response to warehouses, I just want to caution you when you get numbers, and I just did happen to look online at the program that I can look at as far as the number of responses in 2024 to 610 Randolph Road, which is the Amazon warehouse. Your number's correct, but what I want you to do is put it in perspective, and here's what I mean. 80 of those 245 calls were special security checks. That just means the police officer went there because we've identified that location as something that we want them to check on a regular basis. And when they call it into police headquarters, the dispatcher makes it logs as a security check. That security check is because of all of the concerns voiced by the residents in that area about those warehouses. So security checks are done on all the warehouses. So that's not actually a call for service. It's that the police department documented that a police officer went through their parking lot and checked to make sure that there was nothing amiss. All right. About 69 of them were calls for first aid squads. Okay, so in a large warehouse like that runs 24 hours a day, I will tell you that it's not surprising that 69 times in a year they needed an ambulance because someone got sick or got hurt operating a piece of machinery. That doesn't come as any surprise to me. Additionally, there are things like animal complaints, traffic law enforcement, because they identified the location when they ran radar in front of the warehouse or did something. There was things like follow-ups to previous calls. That gets logged as a new call. Motor vehicle accidents in the parking lot. Theft, because I'm sure that you can imagine in a warehouse like that and the type of business that Amazon is, they have somewhat of a problem with employees stealing things. It happens. So it's not all things that are kind of nefarious. It's general police business, and it's not that surprising to me that there were 245 calls or documented things at that location in a year. It's kind of the norm for, a police department that does about 80 to 100,000 of these types of documentations on incidents in a year. That's kind of what I would expect. I think that's it, Mr. Oh, no, the other thing, I'm sorry. So I'll talk a little bit about Somerset Gate. So I have a little bit of familiarity with Somerset Gate, and I actually had a conversation with the mayor about this because Somerset Gate was originally Somerset Douglas. And when Somerset Douglas first came to the township with a proposal to develop that parcel, I was an employee of the police department at the time, and it was my responsibility to review site plans for traffic-related issues. And the issue of using a garage as a parking space and counting the number of parking spaces necessary for a development is something that's included in what's called the residential site improvement standards. It's part of the state administrative code as far as development. And I had a significant disagreement with the attorney who represented the developer at the time about the need for additional parking, but they held to the residential site improvement standards, and the development was approved by the planning board with the number of parking spaces that you currently have. And one of the things that I did and that the planning board agreed with was that in my report to the planning board, I requested that they mandate that the developer grant the police department what's referred to as Subtitle I enforcement powers within the private community. You're an HOA, ordinarily those are private roads, the police department wouldn't have the authority to do that. And it took a very, very long time after Somerset Gate took over from the bankrupt Somerset Douglas developer, and they built your development. And after your development was built, there were signs that were put up that were to be enforced for no parking. However, your homeowners association never pursued the Subtitle I enforcement ordinance that's granted by the township. We all knew there was not enough parking there for your guests. I knew that in 2001 or 2002 when I reviewed the plans, but the developer insisted that they were going to be only held to what the state of New Jersey required, which meant that garages count, right? One in the driveway, one in the garage, that's your 2 parking spaces. But as you said, we all know the reality of the world. And the reality of the world is when you live in a townhouse and you have no basement, you store things in your garage and you park things in your cars in your driveway. But that's not what the law recognizes. And then we got complaints from the fire company that they were not able to respond to calls within your development because people were parking their cars on the street and impeding their ability to get to the back of the development. And there were 2 calls in particular that were brought to our attention by the chief of police. By this time, many years later, here I am the township manager. And I still have some involvement in this because your homeowners association never pursued what the planning board required them to do. So they were told that they needed to do it. There was still a bond held by the township for your developer, and the developer wanted the bond released. He was told that the only way it would be released is if they brought it up to the standards of the site plan that was originally approved, and that's what he did. And I will tell you that I went back and sat down with the township engineer and the traffic safety bureau supervisor, and we went over your site plan again 20 years later. And we allowed for on-street parking where it wasn't originally allowed in the original site plan. So you have more parking in that development than you were even supposed to have, because there was supposed to be no on-street parking. And as you know, some locations in the development allow for on-street parking. Your association was supposed to be pursuing, with the township, additional off-street parking construction. I don't know where they're at with it, but in the interest of safety, there's no other on-street parking that can be permitted. We allowed as much on-street parking as could be permitted to still allow for, in particular, the ladder truck from the community fire company to make the turns at the intersections without being blocked by a car parked on the street. It's a long wheelbase vehicle, and it needs to get through every street in the development. And there is no other place for us to allow on-street parking. I mean, we did work through this whole process with the management company and you know, as the representative for the HOA. You need to pursue this with your HOA. You can call me. You can call me tomorrow and we can have this conversation privately. But no, the back and forth can't happen at this part of the meeting. I'm more than happy to have a discussion with you. And I think the mayor. Do you still have contact information? I'm sure you sent it to me, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And the manager and I had a discussion. Basically, he was educating me, and I kept saying, "Well, can we do this?" And he would tell me why we can't. It's a terrible situation. I feel for you. I hate not having an answer, but
with respect to the mayor, he hates not having the answer that isn't no. He only likes yes. That's the answer that the mayor likes. Unfortunately, sometimes the answer is no. And this is what the mayor is saying, and what's true is that it's kind of out of our hands and in the hands of your HOA if they're going to try to pursue anything that adds to the availability of off-street parking, outside of what's currently in existence.
Okay. Any more comments from council? We are now on to council comments. Mr. Wright, would you like to begin? Would you like to do council comments?
Real quick. Recreation, liaison to the Recreation Advisory Committee, and too much to talk about recreation, you have to go to the website, and then you'll see everything that we have to offer. And I must say, people do utilize. I will say that through the website, people are using and taking advantage of our recreation programs, which are very healthy, and I must say, through the grants that we pay, it should be. I agree with Councilman Vassanella, and so that's all I need to say about that. Also, the redevelopment agency will meet sometime next week to go over our new strategic plan, because as you know, we need more affordable housing, and we're going to look at that, plus apartments that we can use for low-income housing. I should have said that differently. Low-income housing and affordable housing. I thought they were the same term, but no, they're two different terms. So we're looking at that for our next phase in the redevelopment area, which Councilwoman Francois is also on. The high school will have its career day, informational day. And I was able to secure the electrical union, the plumbers, carpenters union, heavy metal, heavy construction, unions to come and participate. Now, they've done it before, but along the way, things fell by the wayside. So they're going to come back and be a part of that, which is what they need to do and what we, as the parents or whatever, however you want to put it, need for our children to go to. Because if they're not going to college, they're going to need a job. And that's the way to go if you don't know what to do. As a former union member, that's a pretty good deal. Also that SHI, which is here in Franklin Township, minority contractor owned on Davison Avenue, they will also be present. They want to be, they're looking forward to it. And again, something that our youth can get into if not going to school and don't have an opportunity for another job. And that's it, Mr. Mayor, real quick.
Thank you. Councilmember Potasnik.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an anticipation, so hopefully tonight the backyard chicken ordinance is passed and will become effective. We are in March Madness, so there's going to be an event called Coop Dreams, an information session if you're interested in learning about how to have or keep a backyard flock. We're going to have an expert from Rutgers Cooperative Extension, Kate Brown. She's an assistant professor. And then also Katie Norhouse, our animal control officer. And we'll take questions from the audience. And hopefully some folks that are have flocks could come and share their experiences. And that's going to be on Thursday, April 17th, right here in the council chambers at 6 p.m. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Vassanella.
The main item I want to mention is we didn't have council comments 2 weeks ago, but I think the week before that, a few weeks back, we had a big presentation here by the study team that is handling the, I'm going to call it the complete revamp of the roadway of Hamilton Street from New Brunswick to just slightly past Franklin Boulevard intersection there where the high school. I think it's Viking Avenue. Anyway, it was a wonderful presentation. My understanding is that the county, at least the team, said they would put it up. It was here. A bunch of us were here. I was here. Their county supposedly put it up on their website. Anybody in Franklin should be interested, especially if you use or have interest in that corridor, because they're still taking comments from people, and this really is the time where they will consider suggestions, recommendations. It was a very interactive experience with all the maps and everything else. So when I'm going to try to get it up on our website.
It's already there, Councilman. It's
Thank
always
you.
been there. The link
new
to
one?
the the link to the county page has
Okay.
always been
So the
there.
link to the
So
county
it's just the
page is
county
there,
link.
and then if you want to see the presentation, that's where you can find it. So, not to get into a lot of details, but there are a few things that we could take the initiative on locally, little items that work, kind of blend into what their grandiose plan is, because the construction won't start to 2029, which is 4 years, but it goes quick. But in the meanwhile, we're going to be coming out with some ideas for the Public Safety Committee and perhaps other committees. So there's some things we could do in the meanwhile that should greatly help increase the safety of people using the corridor and adjoining streets. More to come on that. That was the main meeting, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike?
I'm almost to 60 of the people I need for speed humps. I thought I need about 45, but I'm working my way up to 60. And when I get to 60, then we can talk.
On which street? On which street?
Every street. But I'm looking at the Fourth Ward. Others are looking around, and I won't say what street they're on, but I need 60, and I changed that to 60 because I wanted a broad array of people and streets. I just didn't want to concentrate on one street, but I do have one street with about 5 people just dying for speed humps. But I'm looking at that to move forward so I can get them all together, discuss it, go back, talk to the neighbors, which we must do, talk to the neighbors about it, and then we can see about putting them there. Because where I have a funeral home in Irvington, they just dropped them. In North, they just dropped them. And I know I can drop them. But we need to talk to everyone, just like sidewalks. When I put sidewalks on the program, we actually got to everybody, and no one had a complaint. So we're looking to sort of do the exact same thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Francois.
You know, we've had meetings.
Franciosius.
Francois, yes, Francisco.
Francisco.
We've had late nights for like the last 2 weeks, so I am going to pass with my public comments. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
You are tonight's favorite councilwoman. Councilman Embarrassing.
They're all tired.
Just very quickly, I just follow up Councilman Vasnalla's comment about the Hamilton Street safety meeting. It was a well-attended meeting. Quite a number of citizens came in. They had given their feedback and some inputs, and there were some back and forth question and answer sessions. So I took away a couple of points, and I did follow up with the township manager and the public works. So we would be doing some analysis and coming up with some action plan, because the county project is a very long-term project. For the things that they were suggesting, it's going to take 5 years to materialize. So some of the things that we can do from that session, so which we will try to implement. Other than that, there were a couple of other meetings and openings that we attended. I just want to do a plug for the food bank. Their annual Tour de Franklin is coming up on the 27th April. That's an event that I sponsor every year. So I would ask all of you to participate, if you can, in that event. It's for a good cause, fight hunger in town. very important. Over 7,000 people go hungry, and they're actually getting fed by food bank. So in order for them to continue to provide that service, we need to help them raise money, and I ask everyone to support food bank. That's all I got, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilman Onijaka.
Oh, man. Okay. This is for Bob. Bob, do we have any fine for dropping a
Microphone, Charles.
Okay.
You gotta use the- people can't hear you on the keyboard.
Okay. Let me use this. Okay. I want to find out if we have any fine for dropping materials on the road, on any of these roads, most especially in our Kotley.
Like what type of material do you mean?
Furniture. They dropped furniture.
Well, it's littering. Yeah. So yeah, we certainly have ordinances that prohibit that. Yes.
Okay. Can we post the fines over there? That will eliminate.
Where in particular would you like?
Kotley Lane, in my ward. You know, constantly they've been dropping things.
So we'll take a look at where in particular, but because a lot of Cordeloo is state property, so they would be the ones to post it, not us.
So.
But yeah, we can certainly take a look, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
No, that is what I have for tonight. Okay.
Thank you. Councilman Karazi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Right before the council meeting, my colleagues and I attended the public safety meeting. Councilman Wright, Westanola, and Ambrose and myself, along with the police director and our township manager. There are two things that I'd like to mention. There are going to be two mobilization by the police starting April 1st. And actually, on April 1st, they're going to be starting, and it's the title of the mobilization is Put the Phone Away or Pay. So they're going to be police that are looking for people who may be using their phone or texting. And just for your information, I understand there's $200 or $250 penalty, plus you have to go to court. So please, let everybody know, let your loved one know, that put that phone away when you're driving. The second mobilization, which is going to be begin on May 19th and through June 1st, is click it or ticket. So any passenger or drivers and children who do not have a seat or who are not wearing seat belt, and the police sees them, they're going to get tickets. So please, again, encourage everybody, your loved ones, to wear a seatbelt. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that our police department have started podcast. In fact, they had the first one, and they're going to have more coming. And they're talking about, the main idea is just to let community know what the police does. And if there are some issues that police would like everybody to know, they will be discussing. For example, today, when they had on their first one, they talked about the traffic safety. So just be aware of it. Look for social media. There will be links so you can listen to those podcasts. A couple other things. We had our recent Advisory Board of Health meeting, and we had two speakers. We had Dr. Gonzalez, president of Zufall Health, along with Dr. Ravali, our superintendent. And they mentioned that the building that Zufall is going to be occupying in the middle school campus is going to be ready hopefully around April, and maybe by June it will be open for the public. They're going to be offering both medical and dental services and will serve both students and adults as well. Some of you may not know about Zufall Health. They have several health centers across New Jersey, and last year they served about 52,000 patients. 86% of them were below 200% of federal poverty level. 50% of them, they did not have insurance, and 76% of them were Hispanic, and they also serve special populations such as homeless, public housing, farm workers, etc. So we're looking forward to have that center open, and I'm sure it's going to help our community members and it's going to help to close the gap in health inequality among our community members. I also attended a few events. 2 of them were anniversaries of a couple of churches in our township. The Middle Bush Reformed Church, they had their 191 first anniversary. And it was just an amazing event to hear them, to listen to their history. And they are looking forward to celebrate their 200th year in 9 years. And the other one was the 65th. And by the way, Mayor, thank you very much for that letter that you sent to them. It was acknowledged and read, so that was very nice. The other one was the 65th anniversary by Holy Trinity Lutheran Church. And that was another great event. I had the opportunity to be there. They have a beautiful community garden as well that I learned that it's really amazing. So congratulations to both of them. And, we're looking forward for them to celebrate more anniversaries. I also enjoyed several interfaith iftar or dinner at various centers, including one at Masjid Ali, where they made a donation of $11,000 to 3 of the organizations in our township that serve food to the needy: Food Bank, Gitma, and ICNA Relief USA. So we thank the Muslim community for their donation to that cause. Also, April 7 to 13 is the National Public Health Week. And governor issued a proclamation in recognition of this week. So I just want to mention that as well. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Oh, one more, I'm sorry, the HRC meeting. So we have an HRC meeting starting 7 p.m. tomorrow. And there will be a presentation by the president of South Brunswick Human Relations Commission to discuss their goals, to see, what programs they are involved, and hopefully expand some of the programs that we have, and also for them to see what we do. So it's kind of a collaboration. It's going to be at the room across the hall. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Udine.
Thank you. Just a couple things. So tomorrow, and I was hoping that Councilman Barson mentioned this, the master plan re-examination meeting is happening here at 7:30 tomorrow for the BI zone. So I know a lot of folks would want to attend that meeting, so just want to give that reminder that it's happening here tomorrow. I was at Summerfield a couple weeks ago and spoke to a couple of the residents around just checking in with neighbors, and a lot of the concern that came in was around public safety. So I am going to reach out to our Director Q to see if we can do a mini town hall there, just one-on-one prevention and safety request. Somerset Run is going to have their first Safe New Jersey event hosted by our Assemblyman Joe Danielson, and that's on April 1st, following May 30th in Canal Walk. So just want to, again, remind folks that those are events happening. The Safe New Jersey is geared towards our seniors on senior freeze and some additional benefits on how you can save money and bring some money to you. So please do attend those really good opportunity events. I know we were talking about the tragic earlier, and I just want to also mention that this Friday, I believe there is Parks and Recs is doing, it's called Forever 55 event, Friends and Friends, and it's a CPR event hosted by our police department. So if you haven't already registered, please do register. That's a great event, and a lot of learnings there from our police department. Marcy Street water fountain is in progress.
So I believe that our work is done, and so the plan is to have now New Jersey American make the tap. So I would give it till probably mid-late April, and it'll be flowing water out of the tap to drink.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And a lot of folks in that side of the, in Somerset will be very happy.
Dogs, too.
Dogs, I was going to say. So a lot of our furry friends, because that community, it's a smaller community section of our town, and residents like to walk their dog to this pocket park called Nussel Park, and it didn't have a water fountain, so we were able to get that water fountain installed, and it's a really cool water fountain. It's dual, so it's for humans as well as the furry friends on the bottom. It's a bowl, and so it serves two purposes, and it's much needed. And thank you, Township Manager, for putting that together with American Water. I think the only other thing, so affordable housing community, I think it's been mentioned, part of that committee as well. The meeting's scheduled next week, so more to come from there. And just the last thing that I want to point out, I've heard a lot of, and I've seen actually, things around. So we have little kids and we have older kids that go very early to school. And I'm seeing a lot of noise around school buses where cars are flying through. I just want to point out that it's, 5 points that's been reported by our public safety director. If anyone found gets a ticket, 5 points gets cut off. But I think also it's a reminder that these are our kids, right? We cannot spare any of our kids. So if you are driving, please be mindful. When you do see a bus with the red flashing, which you cannot miss, please stop. I mean, I stop way ahead to make sure that, there's 4 cars gap just for the little ones to pass through, even the older kids. I mean, some of the high school kids, they look very tall now. They look like adults, but, keep reminding that they are passing through, so just be very careful. Thank you.
Thank you. As was mentioned earlier during public session, the Deputy Mayor and I and some others were in Trenton testifying to the Public Safety and Preparedness Committee about warehouses. Warehouses are no longer a permitted use anywhere in town. That doesn't prevent people from going to the zoning board for a variance. That's anybody's right. As I've said before, you could go to the zoning board to put a rocket launching facility in the middle of Canal Walk. I dare to say you won't get it, but you could. I advocated that municipalities need to be able to control work hours so that you're not having trucks pulling in and out at night, that the traffic studies need not to be for the single facility, but for all the facilities that might go in. Each snowflake says the avalanche wasn't their fault. Stormwater regulations, we need to be able to enforce stormwater at time of decision, not just time of application. Hurricane Sandy and Irene don't care about when you applied and when you were deemed complete. They're going to wreak their havoc regardless, so we need to have more control over stormwater. And then warehouses should have to do air pollution studies and noise studies when they're applying, and there need to be standards for those. That's all I have, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have one upcoming event to report on, and that is the annual tree sale for our Shade Tree Commission. This year, there are 2 trees that will be available to residents to purchase, a swamp white oak or an American yellowwood. The information on either one of those trees is available on our website. These are not the tiny little, 12-inch twigs. They are 4 to 6 foot trees. The price is $110 a piece. If you're interested, like I said, the information is on our website, as well as the order form and a better description than I will give for each of those trees, what types of soil they're most suited for. And one is an ornamental, One is an oak tree, so obviously not ornamental, but just a green-leafed tree. So, but I want everyone to understand that if you're interested in buying it, we're only purchasing 20 of them apiece. So you need to get your order in as soon as possible if that's what you're looking to do. This is not a fundraiser for the Shade Tree Commission. This is a break even. That is our cost to purchase them from the nursery is what you will pay. And you get a little bit of a break on if you were to go buy one because we're buying 40 trees. So we get a break on what the trees cost from the nursery because we're buying it in bulk. Get your order in. These are, we kind of got away over the last few years from doing the Shade Tree Commission tree sale. So I'm glad to see it back in action again this year. Councilman Vasanella is the council liaison to Shade Tree, and it is one of the great pleasures of the township manager to be able to appoint the members to the Shade Tree Commission.
And thank you, manager, for bringing that up. I forgot. Thank you very much.
Not a problem.
It's really what we're all about with our tree canopy and environmental concerns. Again, really thank you. And those trees are a bargain at that price.
They are
like
absolutely a bargain for a 4 to 6 foot tree of those types. So, and that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. We're on to approval of the minutes. Item number 11. I present the following minutes to the Township Council for approval. Executive session January 7th, executive session February 25th, budget hearing March 10th, work session, a regular meeting March 11th, and budget hearing March 18th. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Anyone like to pull an item? I would actually like to make one edit to the work session regular meeting of March 11th. When the Fire District 4 spoke, I would just like to put before their comment that I asked them to make a comment about the safety of if Fire District 3, South Brunswick Fire District 3, didn't agree to a contract. I guess I need a second on that.
Seconded.
Okay. Do I have to have 2 votes now? One on the edit or just on the?
No, just on the minutes.
Okay. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Embarrasson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onechaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Potosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes. Time to pay the bills. Approval of the warrants. $18,581,018.35 on March 25th presents to the Township Council for payment. Do I have a motion on the warrants?
So moved. Seconded.
And seconded. Any discussion? Anyone like to pull an item? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Embarrasson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onechaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Potosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes. It's now time for the Community Development Block Grant for 2025. A public hearing is in order for anyone to speak.
Everybody left, Deb.
Do I have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Okay.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Aye, sir.
We're open to the public on this item only. Got the floor.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sharon Clark. I'm the director at Central Jersey Housing. I submitted an RFP about CDBG money, and I just want to thank you that for many years now you have funded our nonprofit that's been around for 37 years while we're in Somerville. at least on average 20% of our clients that we serve, which are almost 100% very low, low or moderate income, are from Franklin Township. And this grant that we're looking for is $11,759. They'll serve 121 clients. Last year, just to put in perspective, we served with $11,000, 124 clients. So except for some increases that have happened, which I'm sure you're all aware of what's going on, we want to try and keep helping folks. That only gets us through about 2 quarters of people. We're already at 78 clients that we billed already for last year for the 11,000. So we go through the money pretty quickly. And since there's a couple new faces, I just like to come and I appreciate all your time and everything the council members do. So I just want to take the opportunity to let you ask me any questions if you should have any. About Central Jersey and who we serve and who we help every year. If not, then the only other thing I wanted to tell you is I came from the county. I know it was mentioned by quite a bit of people. April is Housing Month in Somerset County. Affordable housing and housing for everybody is important of all different types. So Franklin does a fabulous job with having everything from shelters and group homes and everything you can think of. So we have a calendar of events on our website. We work with collaboration with 72 other entities. 24 of them are on for April doing events and resources. So I just want those listening to know that that's out there. And there's tons of free information on our website, and everything we do is free of cost. Thank you, everybody, for what you did for the community.
Thank you.
And Mayor, I'd just like to mention before Sharon sits down that that organization administers all of our owner-occupied affordable housing units in the township. I believe that very shortly she'll be taking on the newest ones that are recently constructed on Cedar Grove Lane, as well as 2 of the affordable rental complexes.
Kind of new to me, but
Yeah.
no promenade, they wanted us. We don't
Yes.
have Wood properties.
No, but you do all of the Society Hill affordables as well as Quailbrook East, and also, I believe, 2, Somerset Park and Countryside.
And then we'll also do some scattered habitat.
Right, yeah, the scattered habitat.
And just to give you an idea, yes, I appreciate that. We sent, as we're required by law, a mailing to all the affordable homeowners in the county. And we have a maximum for the first time in my career, 550 are registered. And for Thursday nights, if you're an affordable homeowner, what you should know, and 70 of those homeowners are Franklin homeowners, so.
Right, yeah, I mean.
Yeah, so we're proud of everything we do, and we appreciate the collaboration with Franklin Township.
And the relationship that our staff has with Sharon and her organization is top notch. So we appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you for keep helping everybody out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to thank Sharon for coming. She's my stalwart partner. She always comes to help me out on presentation night. We do not make it mandatory for any of our requests for funding applicants to show up to the public hearing. But so I do have quite a few more that submitted for funding this year. Middle Earth submitted for $24,978 for their program at the youth center with a goal of 24 children to be served. The Center for Great Expectations submitted for $20,000 for their daycare, 28 children to be served. Home Share submitted for $10,000, 270 Franklin Township residents to be served. The Hillsborough Y submitted for $12,608, 50 students to be served. These are at the Title I schools of Elizabeth Avenue, Hillcrest, and Pine Grove, and they teach life-saving skills to the K-5 children at those schools. Sisters to Sisters submitted for $5,900 for their staffing support and for their breast cancer survival clients. And they also submitted for The facility grant $30,345, and Center for Great Expectations submitted for $24,080. Those were the only applications I received this year in the facilities and the housing project. So if we get enough money, we'll probably have to add back doing some affordable housing, some housing rehabilitation units in this part of the funding package. So that's it. That's all I have for tonight. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, it's federal money, correct?
Yes, it is. This is
From
the
which
Community Development Block Grant Program.
From which agency?
From the Housing and Community Development. Housing
Urban
is,
HUD.
you guys get
HUD.
me every time. It's 9 o'clock at night. It's from HUD.
So
U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
I've lost track, and I generally don't talk about national issues, but this one directly affects us. Has HUD been dozed yet?
Yes, they have.
And we've survived?
It survived for 2025 only. They haven't completed. But the continuing resolution, which I pulled up, it showed that they funded community development block grant for $3.2 billion, which was half of the normal allocation that they got. And they said that was because they took out all the special programs they did, like the economic development portion, where they gave out special grants, the Congress people could give out special grants. They canceled all of that. So there's $3.2 billion for the entire country. And that will only cover till the end of the federal budget year, which was, I believe it's October 30th, 2026. 2025. Yeah. And so after that, we will see what happens. Nothing's guaranteed anymore.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's also affecting the Franklin Township Housing Authority.
That would be correct, yes.
Okay, do we have a motion to close to the public?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Public session is closed for that portion. Now it's time for public hearing and adoptions on second reading. First reading is when we announce to the world that we're considering an ordinance. Second reading is when we consider the ordinance to pass or not and have a public hearing. This is ordinance number 4459-25, an ordinance to vacate existing emergency vehicle and utility easement and accept an emergency access and utility easement arrangement between EWA Somerset 400 owner LLC and the Township of Franklin for the premises known as Block 468.01, Lot 21.15, Atrium Drive, is presented for the public hearing and final adoption. The public hearing has been noticed as required. To have a motion to open to the public.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. We're open. Anyone from the press, because they're the only ones left, want to ask a question? Seeing none.
Motion to close.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. Public hearing is closed. We have a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Madam Clerk.
Councilman Embarrasson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onichaka? Councilmember Potasnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella? Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to skip the chicken ordinance. Ordinance 4460-25, an ordinance amending the municipal code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 115, Dogs and Other Animals, adding Article 6, Backyard Chicken Flocks. I guess two birds are a flock, is presented for public hearing and final adoption. The public hearing has been noticed as required. To have a motion to open to the public.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. It's open. Any questions from the press?
Seeing no one, I move we close public comment this time.
Seconded.
Seconded, very good. Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Public session is closed on this. Mr. Potaznak, would you like to make a motion to adopt?
I move we adopt the backyard chicken ordinance, yes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Embarrasson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka? Councilmember Potosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean? Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Ta-da, in 20 days you can have chickens.
21, they take the hatch from egg. 21.
21 days?
Yeah. To hatch.
Oh, to hatch. No, but it's 20 days before the ordinance becomes law, or from 20 days from when it's published.
So conveniently, chickens hatch within the estoppel period. And if you had one that got laid
If you were sitting on an
today,
egg at this
if you were
time.
sitting on an egg at this time, it will hatch just in time for it to be legal to have them in your backyard. I love that.
We have no ordinances on first reading. Consent agenda, items A through V, as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting, are presented to the Township Council for adoption. Do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Anyone like to pull an item or have an item explained? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Embarrasson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Potosnik? Deputy Mayor Dean? Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
We have no resolutions to be voted on separately. Old business, boards, committees, commissions, and vacancies.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
I
sir.
have one for the Recreation Advisory Committee.
You do?
Absolutely. Ms. Maha Shama, excuse me for pronouncing that wrong. I looked at her resume. It's outstanding as a student. It looks like she's thrown out a resume to go to a job, a second-level job somewhere out there, because it's outstanding. From UNICEF, STEM Stars, Girl Scouts, Rutgers Children's Choir, Rhythmic Arts and Dance Studio, Central Jersey College Prep Girls JV Basketball Team, High School Magazine Editor, 2024 to present, Girls with Impacts, completed mini MBA program 2024. She is, this resident is outstanding, to say the least.
The kind of person you better be nice to, because you might be working for them someday.
Boy, if she wants to go in the mortuary business, I'm in love with her.
This is for the non-voting student member, correct? Yes. Anyone else have a nomination for that position? Anyone have a nomination for any other position? We can do this by acclamation. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Congratulations. We have no executive session. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. We are adjourned. Be well, Franklin.